We're talking about mathematical prerequisites for the pre-calculus course. Our next topic is going to be setting up a simple word problem. In this problem, a rectangular carpet is described, and so your first advice for solving word problems is draw a picture, especially if it's a geometric problem, and label the parts of the picture that are relevant. So the width of this rectangle is relevant because it's talking about it's 4 feet longer than it is wide. So if the width is measured this way, up and down, then the length will be going this way. And so to say that the length is 4 feet longer means that adding 4 to the width will give us the length. So we can, this first clause that says a rectangular carpet is 4 feet longer than it is wide can be represented using this picture of a rectangle, then the label W for width, and then labeling the length 4 plus W. So let's see what it tells us about it. It says it consists of 396 square feet of material. So the square feet of material in the picture really is the area of the rectangle. So the area of the rectangle is 396 square feet, and we know that area of a rectangle is the width times the length. So in terms of the variables in the picture, 396 should be W times 4 plus W. And so now we can solve this equation to find the width. Notice that it's asking us for the perimeter, so width is really not the only thing we want to know, but once we know the width, we'll be able to find the length, and then the perimeter will just be the measure all the way around in feet. So I must solve this equation. If I multiply out the right-hand side, I see a W squared term, and this indicates to me that this is a quadratic equation, and in particular it's a polynomial equation. That means that I need to use the strategy that says that I should get all of the terms in the equation to one side, and 0 on the other side. Because, like in the problems before, if we can factor this, then we know from the properties of whole numbers, or just real numbers, that if the product of two numbers is 0, that means one of the two numbers has to be 0. So there's a huge advantage in seeing the equation written as a product equal to 0 if we can do it. So this is not the easiest thing to factor because 396 is sort of an odd number. Well, it's an even number, but it's a strange number. But if you start writing out some of the factors, you'll discover that 396 factors into two numbers that are very close together. It factors into 22 times 18. So those numbers multiply together to be 396, and you can tell that they're 4 units apart. So they're going to be exactly what I need here to factor this. So I'll have W plus 22 times W minus 18. That will give me the correct factorization. That means in terms of the equation, my W plus 22 has to be 0, which means W would be negative 22, or the W minus 18 has to be 0, which means W would be 18. So there are two solutions to this equation. Either W is minus 22 or W is 18. But remember, in a word problem, the W actually has to make sense. The W represents the width of a carpet, and so W equals negative 22 does not make sense given the original problem. So therefore, the only possible solution is that the width is 18 feet and the length is 4 plus 18, 22 feet. The product of 18 and 22 is 396, as we discussed, and so that means the perimeter is going to be 18 plus 22, which is 40, plus 40 more. So the perimeter is 80 feet.